Welcome back to another episode of WTDU. I am Professor Jay, and today we are going to be talking about a highly controversial topic, and that is two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive. And really the question is your 4x4 van really only a two-wheel drive? There's no easier way to quickly infuriate somebody on the internet these days than claiming that their two-wheel drive van is just a pile of junk, and unless it's a 4x4 van, it doesn't belong in the dirt. Well, today we want to talk about those four-wheel drive vans and something that you may not necessarily be aware of if you have a four-wheel drive van. We're going to have a ton of fun talking about this, but more importantly, we're going to go out into the shop and show it to you, because me sitting behind this desk just isn't going to do today's lesson any justice. So without further ado, come with me, we're heading to the shop. So all this four-wheel drive talk, and you may not even know what is involved in a four-wheel drive conversion or what makes up a four-wheel drive conversion. So let's talk about some of the main components that go into converting your van to four-wheel drive. The first big thing that you're gonna have to have, because if you don't have this giant transfer case, you're not going to be able to put power to your front wheels. This is hooking to your transmission. This is going to supply you with a second drive shaft. So normally you have your main drive shaft that would go into the rear of your transmission and supply power to your rear differential. Now, however, we've added this second drive shaft. This drive shaft is going to run up to another differential up in the front here, which is going to then have two CV axles on both sides, giving you power to your front wheels, making up what would be technically four-wheel drive, right? Well, if it was only that simple. So typically most vehicles, when you would consider that they are four-wheel drive, a four-wheel drive in this configuration is still two-wheel drive. Wait, what? You said it was four-wheel drive, right? But it's really two-wheel drive. Wait, I'm confused. So unless you have a locking rear differential or locking front differential, it's still only a two-wheel drive. So let's head to the back of this and talk about that. We've made a whole video just on locking differentials. So if you want to know more about the different type of locking differentials, I definitely encourage you to check that video out. Most of these from the factory are going to have a gov locker or an open differential. So you'll notice that as you give it gas, only one wheel typically spins. As you're going straight down the road, both wheels are spinning at the same ratio, but as you go around a corner, your inside wheel is spinning at a slower ratio than your outside wheel because of the radius. Now the same thing is going to go with the front, and unless you want your vehicle just to wear tires or make horrendous noises, it's necessary for typical street driving that your differential is open the majority of the time or has a way to open up in order to make these turns. So that's why it's technically not a true four-wheel drive yet. Let me show you what I'm talking about, because I'm probably just confusing you more. I think I'm even more confused. Let me show you. All right, so as we look at this, now here's the first problem with your four-wheel drive van. Well, you can see that both wheels are actually spinning on here. Now the problem is that as I come over here and just put my leg against this, I've stopped this, and now the other side is completely spinning. So imagine you're off-roading, one tire gets barely bound up, and now your tire of least resistance is going to spin. So imagine you're off camber, this tire is firmly planted on the ground, but the other side is not. And it wants to just spin, giving you no traction. Well, you think, well, it doesn't matter, because I have four-wheel drive, I'm gonna rely on the two front wheels, because now you can see as I let that go, and I can do the same thing to the other side. Now, as I'm going to put this in four-wheel drive now to get myself unstuck, I'm thinking, well, I have two more front wheels to pull me out. Well, let's go take a look at that. Okay, so we've engaged our four-wheel drive van into four-wheel drive. Now, the reason we did that is because we weren't getting enough traction in the rear, but luckily we have our two front wheels now with our four-wheel drive conversion to pull us out? Well, again, let's keep this in mind that our front differential does not have a locker in it. It is an open diff. So now the problem becomes the same thing, is just a little bit of pressure. I'm holding this wheel here and I've completely bound it up. Well, meanwhile, on the other side, that tire is spinning. So imagine your van extremely off camber, trying to get traction or climb up a hill. This is going to be a problem that you're going to have. So a four-wheel drive van is not really four-wheel drive unless you have front and rear lockers. It's giving you two-wheel drive, applying power to the wheel of least resistance. So, gosh, I hate to break a lot of hearts out there, but this is really important information to know if you're considering a two-wheel drive suspension lift kit with a rear locker or a four-wheel drive conversion. Well, you know me, I love any sort of field trips and I love hanging out in the shop. So it was definitely fun showing you guys the difference between a four-wheel drive without a locker, and possibly if you were to add a locker, the benefits of doing that. Now, we talk all about lockers over at Jeremy's World 10. I have a whole video up talking about lockers and the different types of lockers. So even if you have a two-wheel drive van, which I completely love, and I think for the money, a two-wheel drive and a locker is kind of the best situation. Now, of course, if money's no object, yeah, let's go four-wheel drive and put lockers in the front and rear. I mean, heck, that's what I did to my Chevy. So I know what it's like having both, and sometimes I think I just enjoy driving the two-wheel drive more. I don't know. All things to question, and of course, these are questions that I love asking you guys, and I would love to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. I would also super appreciate it if you guys subscribe to Weld Tech Designs and Jeremy's World 10, because I'm putting out a ton of content as well as a lot of new podcasts featuring some of the best van lifers out there, like my buddy Chrome and the Slow Roamers. So check those podcasts out over there at Jeremy's World 10. Otherwise, I'm Professor J. That's all I got for you in today's lesson. I look forward to seeing you guys in class next time.